Alright, welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to continue our series on playing classic World of Warcraft hardcore. For those of you who are not familiar, it's just a one life type thing. You die, you have to start over. So we've made a druid named Beansy, after Beansy the garden cat. You folks probably are familiar if you watch our YouTube channel. If you don't watch our YouTube channel, if you enjoy homesteading and homesteading hobbies, for me, gaming is a hobby of mine, so I added into my homesteading channel.
Greetings.
So one of the first things that we're going to try to do today, let's see how much funds we have. Alright. We want to head over and pick up skinning and leatherworking, and then we need to go skin a bunch of stuff. Luckily, in the starting zone over here for the Tauren, there are quite a few animals that you can skin and such. So, trade goods.
How may I aid you?
Skinning knife.
Be careful.
Skinning. Now we will take leatherworking, but if it's 10 silver. Or I'm sorry, 10 copper. Yeah, for 10 copper. The reason I'm going to go ahead and do it for 10 copper is because it'll be worth it. It'll pay for itself as we get the ruined leather scraps, and then we can convert those into light leather, which will in turn allow us to sell those for more.
Peace, friend. Ancestors watch.
Now we will do this, but we will not pick this up. This is the one where you follow the wolf, I believe.
At your back.
Oh no, yeah, we can
Be
do
careful.
We'll do the first part of it. I have to try to remember to keep Mark of the Wild. Did we learn? No, we haven't learned Thorns yet. As a druid, there are 2 buffs, if I remember right. It's been so long since I really played World of Warcraft. I like the idea. And then I was talking to somebody that there's like a new season of Mastery coming out. Actually, it probably won't be called Season of Mastery. It'll be Season of something, right? But the reason that I like that idea is I would love to play from 1 through next Ramus, or in my opinion, even better if they did like level 1 all the way through, what is it, Sunwell Plateau, which is the final raid in TBC, I believe. You may want to check me on that. I haven't played it in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Let's go. I probably should have done that first, but where are these? There they are. So gonna work out. Hopefully there's a bunch of people. Ooh. Rip my man Melandin, or however you say that name. At least if you're still here, at least you didn't make it too far. I'm sure I'm going to die and die often. I just hope that I don't die of something stupid. What I mean by something stupid, like a disconnect, or you know, like lag out, or do something silly like that. I apologize in advance if my voice is a little off. It's been really dry here, so my sinuses have been a little jacked up. I always want to make sure whenever part of playing a buff class is throwing out those buffs for people. I do it because whenever I'm playing another class, like hopefully here in a little bit I'll get my bags. I did make like a warrior, and I just got him with skinning and sold a bunch of leather, and I sent over some bags so that, because I wanted to make sure that I showed the leveling process while I was recording, but I didn't want to record me going through the laborious activity of farming leather to sell, and because the bags are like 5 silver each. So anyway, I got 4 bags and sent them over, and I think I sent like 35 silver, something like that. And that's something that I'll probably continue to do. Meaning, when I don't feel like recording, I'll probably play that warrior and just send over resources. If I get a few greens here and there. But hopefully, as I record this, then we can go through it together and do all the dungeons. That'll be part of what I want to do. There's a cap on the dungeons, though. You can only do them, I think, once every 24 hours. I think I mentioned this last time too. But essentially, every 24 hours you can do the dungeon. So it just prevents you from cheesing your way to, getting a group of 5 and just staying in an instance the entire time. Although with it being a PvP or a PvE server, I'm sorry, there's not much danger of like PvP out in the open. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal if you could just dungeon spam, but it is what it is. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it one way or the other. I'm just thankful to have like a new version of it to play. We're going to turn in this quest real quick. Make sure we'll grab some. Kill anything on the way, but I need to sell my bags. I didn't sell beforehand, so.
I'm out of range.
The debuff. I know the wolf gives a debuff, or a buff. I thought. Anyway, as a hunter, I thought when you had the wolf, it gave you like an attack power buff or something. But whenever you're fighting them, it gives you a different buff or a debuff. That's interesting. I wonder if it'd be more useful if it was like an AoE debuff, but I don't think reducing a boss's strength by 2 or agility by 2 would be like highly beneficial. I should have done that. I played that warrior for a few hours and now it's kind of gotten me my rhythm thrown off. I think we got one. Yep. I believe over here is where I remember. That's where we're going to go. We're going to sell all this stuff, turn that in. We may not pick up the next part of this quest just yet. Then we'll run over there and start knocking out the wolves and the plain striders and that kind of stuff. We'll save those humanoids hopefully until we reach 7 or 8.
How? Walk with the Earth Mother.
Okay.
Go in.
So we're just going to run over here. I like playing the Druid. I like the idea of being able to heal or tank. It's funny because I played World of Warcraft consistently for quite some time, as I said last time I played, but as a general rule, I almost always played a healer. And then later on, I had friends that went to some of the more popular private servers. This was, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. I don't know, maybe plus or minus. Anyway. And we played together on those servers, and I ended up playing a warrior tank. And those of you familiar with Classic know that you can do a couple different ways, like a DPS or a a more traditional tank build, so I went straight defense most of the time on ours, and we had most of our off tanks in the guild were two-handed, and that worked out pretty well for us. What I would like to see, and I don't know if they'll do it or not, but that might be a little high. Let's go. I would like to see a version where they increase the difficulty of the classic WoW. Maybe not add new mechanics or anything, or they could if they wanted to. I don't really care. But I just like it a little more difficult. You know, you could remove a lot of the weird things like the debuff limits. You know, allow more than one hot on the same count on a person, so that bringing multiple resto druids is viable. That sort of thing. And I like the cadence of the first season of Mastery. From what I heard, I read off on the patch notes, and it looked like the first season of Mastery was almost perfect from my perspective, as far as the way I would like to see. And I don't really care about the PvP patch, to be honest with you. I'll leave that up to those of you who PvP. I think it would be nice if Blizzard listened to people, because I don't really think in. There's a few things, I guess, a few of the two-handed weapons that do affect PvE, but that's always going to happen. I don't know that it's as big of a deal. I know it's, if I'm not mistaken, there's a really good PvP weapon, or you get the weapon in PvP that's good for feral druids, especially bear tanks. So that might be something I'm interested in this time. Because anyway, that's what I was getting on earlier before I got all distracted, though, is that I think this time through, if I decide to do another run through of Classic WoW, I might do a bear tank. We had a bear tank in our guild on the private servers, and they were really impressive. It's really cool the way that there's a little bit of extra work, like the farming the manual crowd pummelers and that sort of stuff. But I'm kind of hoping that if they do a second season, if they fix a lot of those clunky things, they could just normalize the bear attacks, or somehow make the attacks modify off of weapon damage or something. Just a little something to give bear tanks just a bit more threat. I'm not really concerned about the damage per se. And when there's in 40-man raids, the tank damage isn't near as important as their actual threat. But in Classic WoW, a lot of times damage and threat coincide. Especially, that's one of the reasons why the arms tanks are, or I'm sorry, the arms tanks, the Fury tanks are so good, is because of the way that the damage coincides with the threat. I've seen a few of the compilation videos of the hardcore deaths, and those are kind of fun to watch. And I say that out of humility, because I know my time is going to come too, and I'll probably add my death to everybody else's online. That's what I think is kind of fun about it, is that usually in the gaming community, there's a certain amount of hubris that goes along with it, myself included sometimes. But hardcore seems to have the ability to humble a lot of people, and so as opposed to getting angry over deaths and such, they seem to embrace it a little more and find the humor in it. It sure will be nice to get those extra bags, though. It speeds up your leveling time quite a bit. It's also one of the parts, though, about starting on a fresh server that's sort of fun, is, having to manage your bag space. And although I'm sure it's more fun to watch somebody with all 14 slot bags that doesn't have to run back to town so much, it is part of the experience overall. Yeah, I'm getting excited. It's been a long time since I've been able to. I say a long time. It's been about a week since I've been able to play this character, and predominantly that's because it's getting fall season, and on the homestead I've got so much to get done. Just today, for example, having to water just the seedlings themselves. When you have 300 and however many plants, and it's 95 degrees. Although I'll tell you, I bet that greenhouse today was a lot harder than 95. I don't have a thermometer in there right now. I need to have one, but for some reason I keep it in there in the wintertime so I can tell what the temperature inside of it is going to be. But I don't keep it in there in the summertime because it gets hot enough in there that it'll crack the plastic and stuff. But anyway, it was definitely hot this morning in there, and I gotta make sure I pay attention. I start talking, I'm gonna end up dying. But we got all that stuff. We had green beans we put away before I got on stream, before I started recording today. I put up a lot more green beans. We have a full cabinet of tomatoes, which is fan-freaking-tastic. I think I mentioned last time, but we're also trying another trick that we were told by some other folks about freezing your tomatoes instead of, like, some of them. You want to can some of them because we can them in their own juice, and that makes for a fantastic pasta sauces and that kind of stuff. Don't run! That's what I'm afraid of is going to get me killed eventually. That's why I'm trying to save those humanoids for later. They run away into another pack, and for some reason in my head, that's the thing I remember doing the most, is dying to those runners. Especially at Alliance. Yeah, that's right. In Alliance, there's an area you have to go where there's like some Defias casters of some kind. And they shoot these stupid fireballs at you all the time. Anyway, they'd start running around. You'd have like 4 or 5 fireballs coming at you, and you were done. See, so all we're doing is just combining those little leather scraps. At twofold, it's going to sell for more money, and it's also going to slowly level up our leatherworking. But I thought leatherworking would be fun because we can use it initially as a way to gain a little bit of money, and then as time goes on, what we'll do is hopefully be able to make a lot of our own gear. Another thing, I'm curious to see if the low-level gear will be something that you'll be able to sell consistently, because I believe people will have to start over quite a bit. Maybe I'm only speaking from my own experience on that, but I know a lot of people are talking about trying to set up guilds where you can raid and stuff, and that would be something I think I would be interested in. But you'd really have to trust people to go into like Molten Core or something. Although Molten Core is not that bad. There's not like a whole lot of ways that you can really wipe the raid unless you're just totally not paying attention and you like bomb people or something. But you start getting into like Nax, like Thaddeus and the Four Horsemen come to mind, stuff like that. Somebody like can't follow the polarity charges, or oh man, not only that, but I wonder what the what is his name? Is it Halgan the Unclean? Anyway, the dude that you have to do the dance in his room. That would be frustrating. Because, every time you lose somebody, you'll have to recruit somebody to the raid. I suppose you could have raid people, like, just require everybody to have multiple characters, but you end up killing a bunch of people on a polarity shift, and I bet people would lose their minds. Yay! Oh, we do need those guys too.
It's too far away.
Come on, bird. Yep, I didn't mean to do that. I have to admit, I really like the pace of the hardcore thing. I like finishing zones before moving on to the next one, or you know, like working between two zones, and not going on. Oh wow, well, that's unfortunate. Let's see. Yeah, let's get rid of. Oh no, let's get rid of that guy. Small. We'll just run back over here and sail real fast. Yeah, if you guys are playing hardcore, let me know how far you've gotten. I'd also like to know if you've died. Because so far all I have is this and the Undead Warrior, and neither one of them have died yet. But my Undead Warrior, I think, is like 11. No, it's not an Undead Warrior. It's a Troll Warrior. And I did like the starting areas of both, right? Like I did the starting Troll area, and then I ran all the way over. And then I did to Tears Fall, and I did the starting Undead area, and then came out to Brill. And I'm kind of working my way back and forth, you know, like between the two. That's kind of, I guess that's kind of cheating probably, but it is what it is. Maybe not cheating, but cheesing it, you know, like keeping all my quests as green as possible. So that's probably what I'll do here once I get done with Mulgore.
I have just the thing for you.
I'm considering actually just running straight across right now and running over to, for some reason I can't remember the name. Whatever the name of the town is that the orcs... I'll think of it here in a minute. Is it Razor Hill, something like that? Although those are not my favorite quests, if I'm being honest. Leveling over there, it's a lot of running. Although I suppose Mulgore is also a lot of running, so you know, it's hard to really argue with that. So we are going to need to get cooking, and we are going to need to get... Let's go ahead, I guess. We might as well, right? Remember, where is... Is cooking in here? I would imagine it probably is, right? Yeah, cook right there.
How may I aid
cooking,
you?
though. Oof, it's not bad.
Be careful.
That way we can get rid of this. Can you cook on this little thing? Yeah, probably dang. Well, it's fire. I guess why not? Yeah. First aid is another thing we'll have to learn, I'm sure. First aid vendor. So vendor, first aid trainer. Oh, I think it's over in. In fact, I think when we logged in today, I saw it over here by the innkeeper. I was reading a thing about
Wish to speak?
like the things not to do. Yeah, it's only one. Okay,
Ancestors watch over you.
use that. About things not to do in the classic hardcore, and one of them was like go AFK, and that's something that I am absolutely notorious for. like when I'm questing, especially if I'm questing by myself and I don't really have anything around to keep me accountable. I am forever just like, okay, this looks like a safe spot, and I'll get up and walk away, and I'll come back and I'll be dead. So I think I'm going to try to remember not to do that. If I'm going to zone out, like go into an inn or make sure I'm in a building or something. But, you know, there's a lot of zones that are so big, and, you know, I have so much going on. You know, like, for example, it's nothing for me to have to wake up in the morning and, you know, water for, you know, the gardens for, you know, 2 or 3 hours in the morning. So I have to get out, you know, set up the sprinklers and all that kind of stuff. But in the interim, I'll come in and play video games or something like that. Especially if I was, you know, back whenever I was raiding, it would be something that I would do often. Predominantly because it's, you know, you had to farm so much gold and that sort of stuff. Anyway, and so I'm trying to convince myself that I am not going to do that this time around. I have a feeling that it'll be easy to remember at first, but complacency will set in. You know, you kind of get cocky after a little while, or, you know, there's some random rare running around the world that I'm unaware of, and I, you know, just going away at my business. I seem to remember Silverpine having some kind of wandering patrol that used to kill me a lot too, so if we decide to go do the Silverpine quest, we'll have to make sure we're on our toes. It's like a worgen looking thing, if I remember right. I cannot wait to get my bear form. It's not as much DPS increase as the cat form is, which is... The cat form is really nice. I think there's like a speed boost you can get through talents and stuff. I was looking at the talent tree a couple days ago thinking about how I wanted to level, but, you know, in World of Warcraft, speed is such a thing. Because, you know, everything is so far apart. You got to run from here to there. And, you know, anytime you can speed that process up, it's a big, big win. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Although the Master Shapeshifter is probably going to be the very first thing to take. I like the idea of getting rage whenever I whenever I shapeshift from one to another. Alright, one more of you, man. It's funny, you know, they're like, hey, get a claw or a talon or whatever, and you know that brother's got 2 of them. And yet somehow I beat him down. I can see the talons on his feet, but I can't take it. Yay, alright, let's go turn that in and get those things out of
I need to get closer.
Our bags. Wow, they fill up that one bag, man. It fills up really quick, it feels like. Yeah, I'm thinking about also starting I have Baldur's Gate 3 that I bought it like 3 years ago. I love the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing, but anyway, I thought about doing a Let's Play series on it too. I played through like a lot of the story, the basic story I know, because I played through the first act a couple times whenever it was in, you know, like the pre-order or whatever. So I think it'll be kind of fun to play through, because, you know, that way we could all play through Act 2 and 3. I've heard that a lot of the stuff in Act 1 is different anyway, a lot of the dialogue is and such, but I'll probably play. I thought about making a druid in there too. That way kind of keep it consistent druids across the board. Over time though, you know, in a series like that, from what I hear, there's a lot of replayability, so you could probably play it 3 or 4 times through and never have the same experience. Maybe the ending. I don't know how many actual endings they make, but apparently that's like a 100-hour game or something.
What brings you here? We shall meet again.
Alright.
May the eternal sun shine upon you.
Where's this well? Oh, it's the one we just went to. Oh, gotcha, okay. Then we can do this. Try to get some of those. Yeah, alright, we can do that. We are probably also going to like, oh yeah, we got to sell. What am I doing, man? See, I start talking on here, then I forget what I'm doing. And, oh yeah. I keep forgetting. I can just go on the end to sell. Do-do-do-do. I don't have to run all the way over there.
Greetings.
Alright, I want to browse your goods. I don't think I'm going to sell that. I don't eat a bunch of food. Sell those. Keep that to cook later. Sell that. Alright. Yeah, I could buy a bag, but I want to save that cash for. It's okay. We'll just take our time. Keep an eye out for those birds on the way through. There we go. Do the totem cleanse, and then maybe we'll start picking off some of these dudes. That right there, right? Isn't that where it's at? I thought about making the shaman. I'd love to make like a enhancement shaman. The only problem with playing an enhancement shaman is I don't think if you were interested in doing in-game, you'd basically be forced to switch to resto shamans. Although that's not terrible either, though. I mean, I don't mean that. Resto shamans are awesome. I think they pretty much just chain heal spam at in-game. Besides obviously dropping all the groovy totems and stuff. But seems like that would be a relatively big challenge, learning, because you'd have to know the fights and have a pretty good idea of like spawn timers and that sort of things, I think, to play a shaman. I played one in Burning Crusade, but I think everybody played a shaman in Burning Crusade at some point, and just because you had to have, each group had to have a shaman of some sort. But as I said earlier, I always played healers, so I played resto shamans. And they were super fun. In the Burning Crusade, I never did the resto shaman in classic. Alright. Oh no. Need to get some potions. I was told a lot of people go alchemy on the hardcore challenge for that very specific reason. Oh, shoot. Okay. Aww. Okay. Dang it, dang it. Alright, let's go. Don't die! Don't die! I'm running away. Don't heal me. There we go.
May your ancestors forever guard your path.
Woohoo! That's funny. Alright. I'm definitely gonna have to be a bit more careful. Mostly because you don't know those weird spawn timers, right? Or the respawns. I don't know, I think they're doing like a dynamic respawn system where, depending on how many people are in the area. I say that because on that undead warrior that I was playing, there's a name that you have to kill, or I keep saying undead just because I'm in that area, but it's actually a troll, regardless. There is a name that you have to kill in the undead area, like by some farm or something. And that thing just kept popping. There was like a chest in the room with him, and I couldn't get it. I finally gave up. Because by the time you'd kill the named and then try to open the chest, and by the time you could open the chest, it would spawn and hit you. So, I guess that's just part of it, whenever you're trying to play on a server that is populated like this. Let's get this up so I don't have to use my mana all the time. Oh, yay. My bags are here. Oh, wouldn't that be terrible? You spend all that time to farm the bags and stuff to send to you, and then before you can even open your mailbox, you die. Now, I think I said this last time too, but I never played the hardcore challenge on with the add-on. Apparently there was like an add-on that you could do that simulated the hardcore thing. I think that's where this whole thing started, or was it Iron Man? Anyway. But I believe in that one you couldn't, like, you weren't supposed to group. There were some rules, maybe rules I don't understand, but and then like you couldn't buy anything from the auction house, that sort of stuff. I don't know that I would have enjoyed that as much as I do this. I enjoy being able to, like, although, I mean, let's be honest, I haven't even made it to a spot yet where I really have to worry about anything like that. You know, like buying things from the auction house or anything like that. But I promise you, if I get the money, I will. It'll make the leveling process faster, because it can be brutal. You know, classic WoW leveling is already a challenge. In fact, for a lot of people, that was, at least whenever the game first came out, like a big part of the game to them was just leveling. I don't know, but I remember the reason that they put Next Ramus in as the first raid in Wrath of the Lich King, they said, was because so few people made it that far. And I didn't get to see any. Well, we did the Spider Wing, so Mixana or whatever her name is like the furthest that I was able to see the original time through it. Of course, we watch videos and things of all the other ones, but the guild I was in was not very good. I mean, we were good enough to get through, you know, Ani and BWL, all the 20-man raids, but we couldn't. We never downed Twin Imps. That was like our roadblock for some reason. Twin Imps, and then we got into, the way I remember it, let me put it, so the way I remember it was we got into all of that, into next, and then it seemed like once we got into it, we made pretty good progress. But then they announced the new expansion coming up, and everybody got excited for that and kind of lost the desire to progress, because raiding Naxx was expensive. At least it was for us. Like, we couldn't, there was a lot of it that we absolutely had to have healing potions and mana potions and all of that, or there's no way we would have been able to survive. But then, you know, whenever we did it on the private servers, I don't know if it was because the private servers weren't tuned correctly, although it felt that way. It felt like that they were tuned, because it was pretty difficult, but we didn't need as much, and I think a lot of that might have to do with just the experience, you know, like the overall experience. We're better gamers, we had better equipment, you know, all that kind of stuff. So alrighty. We need one of these guys. Kind of staying on the outside. I'm a little paranoid. I get in there and everything starts spawning on top of me. Ooh. I will use that for now. Thank you. Just keep smacking them with my stick. Yeah, Druids seem like they're a little slow until like level 10. Maybe it's even level 20. I don't really remember that part very well. But I know once you get cat form, they go a lot faster. And also for my first character in hardcore, I wanted something that had heals with it. I feel a lot more comfortable having the ability to heal myself, you know, in the event. Now, I found myself a few times where I'm not careful running out of mana. And then, of course, it doesn't do me any good to be able to heal if I don't have mana. I need one of these guys to... So I need several of these guys right here. Oh, that's funny. A little bird knocking a big old cow over. Ooh, there's some stuff to skin right there. Yes, oh no. Well, there we go, tenor. Back him up a bit. Hey, there you go. Let's make sure that's down here where we can get to it. Let's get back here. Yeah. See, I'm not paying attention and I could have just died right there. Oof. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. We can all just... Yeah, see, this is much better. Oh no! Oh! Oh, that's not good.
I can't cast them yet.
Oh no! We're all dying. Oh wow, I cannot believe I made that. Oh my gosh. Whew. Oh dude. Wow. So now I see what people mean Oh man, I feel terrible. I don't know why that guy pulled that. Do you see the guy with that little silver portrait around his head? That guy's like an elite, man. He'll clown us. That's whatever. Resurrectable, huh? I don't think you can resurrect in this game. In this version, anyway. Oh. Yeah, so tell me what you think about that. How in the world... That's like a weird feeling, isn't it? They died, and I lived. That was really close. Important not to get overconfident. Oh, wow. Well, that's funny because I'll remember that for a while. But make sure I don't get in there and get that guy again. Oh, there's a chest in there. That's not worth it. Come on, don't. I'm afraid he's gonna run over there and pull that guy, and then I'm gonna end up running for my life again. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I need some more of those. The tanners, right? Okay. So we need some tanners on the other side too. Alright. Well, let's just run over this way and see if we can. After seeing that dude just smack down those other guys. I'm going to see if I can stay away from that guy. Good news is, if my guy lives long enough, I'll be able to go get some bags. Oh no, there's another corpse too. This is not working out well for some of these people. Hey, look, that guy got to a chest, huh? I think I will just chill out over here where I know there's no sneaky. Hey, another one, nice. Alright. I need a Skinner. I'm looking for the tanners. Yep, you're Skinner. But I feel like there's enough of us over here that if they do. Alright. Let's just get stabilized here. Oof. I didn't want to use that, but I'm not going to sit here and sweat it the whole time. It's funny because in like I remember in you know, just playing regular Warcraft, I'd hardly ever use the potions. I'd never even think about it, you know, just run around. And now that I'm playing hardcore and I'm super afraid of dying, I can't keep the dead gun things in my inventory. I can see why they say it's a good idea though to go alchemy and herbalism though. Yeah. Alright, now let's go turn this stuff in. Sell some stuffs. I think those armor kits might come in handy at some point. I kind of want to... Wow, there's a lot of dead people through here. Yeah, I still can't believe I made it out of that. Yes.
Looking for something special?
See what I'm going to do. I'm going to send one of those back to my... That's exactly what I'm going to do. Quite further I can sell.
Goodbye.
Ah, I've been expecting you.
There you go. That way, if anything happens... Ah! Alright, so this should be much better now. I'm not going to pick up that right of vision until I've knocked all these out down here, I think.
The winds guide you. Walk with the earth, Mother.
Alright, where are we at here? We still got swoop hunting. So where can I get the cougar? Alright, yeah, let's go do that so I can get that finished. We'll get the wolf. There's also a dude that walks up and down here, I think, that gives you a... Do need those guys though. Hey, that's the dude I was talking about right there. Well, that was wasted, wasn't it?
Hail. Goodbye.
You know what? I do think I want to go learn. I'm hoping that we can get thorns is the reason why it seems like it's worth heading back. If we can get thorns, that's another passive damage that'll probably help speed this all along quite a bit as well. That and the bags. Because now the name of the game is going to be just to kill everything along the way. You know, anytime we go to a quest, just anything in our way, we'll kill it, skin it. And then hopefully we can level our leatherworking up to make a bunch of 8-slot bags. I think I need to find out what level is appropriate to do RFC, because my instinct is to say, you know, go in and do it at level.
How may I aid you?
And oh, there we go. Thorns. Maybe I didn't train at 6. Alright, so healing touch. Thorns. Wrath. Oh, entangling roots too. Yeah, that's a good one. Alright. Yeah, I'm almost positive that I did not train. That probably... I think I do want to get some more water, though. I haven't really had a drink yet, but... maybe we can go over there and find some swoops.
Hail.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go over here, find our swoops. And we'll just start kind of working out these Stalker and Cougar Claws. I don't like those broken tool quests. Maybe whenever I get an interrupt. But I think I'm going to do the swoop quest, and then I'm going to do this Thunderhorn Totem quest. And then I think I am going to run all the way over to Razor Hill, or whatever it's called, and do all of the Orc and Troll quests as well. Hey buddy. I'll go ahead and just take that out of your way. Yeah. No problem. I was talking all about thorns and I didn't even have it up. It really does speed up the whole process, though, for in this early little, before you get a few more of your offensive abilities, especially your shape changing. Just having the extra armor from being a bear is completely worth it.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Okay. Now that would be a fun challenge, to try to level 1 to 60 as a Valach Druid.
My mana is low.
I'm sure you've all heard the term Unkin. Ugh. We actually, if I remember right, on the classic, now I don't remember the first time through, we may or may not have had an Umkin. I really don't remember, to be perfectly honest about that. But when we played on the private servers, we definitely had an Umkin, and in fact, our resto druids would rotate who got to play, because they don't do great damage. They were almost always bottom of the damage meters, and it was a difficult spec to play, but they seem to love it. So I'd be interested to know if any of you all played a Boomkin in OG vanilla or on private servers and the classic stuff, because again, it seems like a real thankless spec. It seems like it just drinks mana. You're on the bottom of all of the DPS meters, but then again, everybody wants one in their group, so I mean, they gotta be okay, yeah? So is it a crit buff? I wonder if it's probably just party-wide too, huh? Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about doing the thorn or the roots. There we go. Ooh. Yep, so I thought I saw one of those. When I see somebody dead, I'm always looking around for one of those dadgum.
It's too far away.
For something with a silver band over it. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Move, move. I don't have any health potions, so I gotta be careful. I wonder if I could trade some make some of those armor kits. Trade a stack of those for oh wow, that's a significant boost to what it was, huh? Sure that dude's not going to path into me. Be a pretty good pairing, a warrior and a druid to level together. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. I can get some more.
I'm out of range.
Doom to doom to doom. What am I trying to get paws off of these guys? There's like 4 paws and none of them are good enough. I need to get more technical on how I kill these things, I guess. Although I guess I am bludgeoning them to death with a big old stick, so that probably would. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you can really feel that.
Closer.
120, yeah. Well, we're getting a lot closer now, right? We're getting significantly closer to getting our bear form. Just let this heal that thing over here. Just drain that thing while I recoup some endo. Yeah, I do think I will definitely record my journey on the Season of Mastery. I will also do at least one of these a week. I'm not really in any hurry to try to get to 60 or anything, because I don't really anticipate raiding on this guy. I do like the idea of, you know, just since I played World of Warcraft at the beginning and I've done most of the achievement stuff through
I'm out of range.
Cataclysm. It would be nice to, you know, to have a 60 and say that I did it on the Classic realm. But really what I'm here for is just to sort of get the taste of vanilla back in and sort of get ready to play the new season when it comes out. A lot of it, you know, I think a druid, I would really like to play a druid again, but a lot of it will depend on how the changes that they make. For me personally, I'm not really, again, I've said this earlier, but I'm not into like PvP or anything, so the changes they make there, you know, it's not going to really be a big deal. Even if they do it like the last one, you know, like the changes they made on the last one were really nice, I thought. But I had gone on to, you know, Burning Crusade in the Season of Mastery, so no, wait a second. Season of Mastery was, because I didn't get to play the classic that was launched in whatever it was, 18 or 19. We were building the homestead during that whole thing, so I didn't have a chance to play it. I did play on the private servers though, and I did read about the changes that were made, and they were nice, right? Like, you know, I think they did away with the debuff limit. You could have more than one hot, that kind of stuff. I can't remember if they increased the difficulty. Maybe that's me just wanting to believe they did, so that, you know, there's a chance that, you know, they'll do it again. But for me, that's something I would enjoy. Now, not everybody wants the game to be more difficult. Some people prefer it where there's a certain level of familiarity, and, you know, they don't do it for the difficulty. They do it, you know, to hang out with folks and kind of be in an area that is comfortable for them specifically. But I think after you've done it so many times, because I played on private servers, like 2 or 3 separate private servers, so that would be like 4 times playing from the beginning all the way through the end of Classic. So that's quite a few times to do it all, but, you know, kind of the same. We did play on one server though where the difficulty, but I think, like, when I say the difficulty, it felt like what they did was just add X% increase in HP and X% of increase in damage from the boss. There wasn't, there wasn't added mechanics or increased rage timers. There wasn't anything like that I remember. It's also interesting because I had significantly more free time when we were doing that than I do now. I'd like to see how I could fit it into my, into my schedule. Because I remember the first time through, originally, I was fortunate. I was in 2004, 2005, 2006. I was still going through the school stuff, and I had a night job that I worked on the weekends, and my guild raided during the week, so I bartended on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and was able to make enough money to pay all my bills. And then we raided on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we cleaned up on Sunday night if we had, the people were online and such. But a lot of times, anybody who remembers that, Tuesday and Wednesday was on patch day. Tuesday nights could be somewhat unreliable. That's why we always had the Sunday night. So if it was one of those situations, which oft times it was, if there was a big patch come through, it was one of those situations where the patch carried over into the raid time, that we would have Sunday to continue on. But and anyway, I say all that to say it would be nice to find something that has sort of that same schedule, My wife is pretty cool. She'd probably let me raid, 2-3 nights a week. Especially if it was like, and then I could probably manage it if it was like in the, like say if it started in the fall through the spring, because until it's summertime, it gets dark at, 7:30, and you can raid from, 8 to midnight or something along those lines, and then so now we need the prairie stalkers. Ooh, let's go grab that before somebody else does. Don't knock me down. Alright, you can now go. Sweet. Alright, back to these guys. Oh, well, he resisted that. Alright. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing a dungeon on this, just to try to see what the anxiety levels are like. I would think that people would be, what's the word I'm looking for? I would think people would be more communicative, take things a little slower. Because I remember for a while there, especially like at the launch of a server, I think it was Nost, but there were a bunch of people when it launched, like a bunch, and everybody was trying to get ahead. So you would get into something like RFC or something, and you get a group together and everybody would agree you're going to run it twice or whatever. But then you'd get some rando rogue who like apparently didn't have time, he wanted to get ahead of the game and ahead of everybody else, so he would, do something stupid and pull a bunch of packs. But you do that in this, and not only are you killing yourself, but everybody else loses their character if they can't get out in time. So it'll be really interesting to see how other people, because there for a while it did get the mentality of rush, rush, rush. Once they added like the random dungeon finder with ICC, it changed a lot about the way that people played the game. and a lot of that stuff carried over. Into later parts, especially like I remember Cataclysm came out. Cataclysm was supposed to be kind of the return to Warcraft, right? Like where it was difficult and that sort of stuff, but they kept random dungeon finder in. Anyway, so you had these difficult heroic dungeons that you were doing through a dungeon finder queue, and it was cross server and all that kind of stuff. So it just became a toxic nightmare. You know, if you missed like one, I remember there were several fights to where like if you didn't know the mechanics, then you were going to die. You couldn't just heal through them. You couldn't just, hey, look at that, now I'm getting bags everywhere. Anyway, healing through them and doing that stuff, it just simply wasn't an option. You had to know, and they were still hard to heal even if people knew all of the mechanics. So after, I mean, and anyway, that was a selling point going into the expansion, and then, you know, a few months into it, Blizzard capitulates because people were throwing a fit. And back then we had a term, wrath babies, is what they used, and it wasn't necessarily like a pejorative so much as it was that people who had started in Wrath of the Lich King, and you know, they wanted things like leveling to be faster, and everything was quality of life for that group of people that kind of fell into that. And for those of us who had played from 2004, we enjoyed the, you know, the longer game, the tedious aspects of it, getting from 1 to 60. That was part of the journey. And so that's whenever they introduced boosting and all of that kind of stuff as well. And so there was a pretty big split in the community. And it's interesting coming back to see hardcore and talking to some of my older friends that some of them kept playing, some of them didn't. Some of them came back for the Season of Mastery or the 2008 or 9 reboot, whatever it was. And apparently, like, the mentality is still that same way for a lot of people. A lot of people, you know, they want the classic WoW, but they want, you know, boosts and microtransactions, and you know, they want, you know, turn it into real money transactions and stuff. And I get it. Some people dig that stuff. You know, some people. I've heard the terms. I have a friend who says he feels like they value his time whenever he can do things like swipe a credit card. You know, and to me, it personally, it cheapens the experience for me. I don't like pay to win games. It's just a personal preference, and so anyway, I'll be interested to see the new season. One of the things that attracted me to hardcore was that it did seem more like it kept the essence of the original classic World of Warcraft, and not the more I guess fast, you know, pay to win type mentality that a lot of people, or a lot of games have now. Almost all games now have some sort of pay to win mechanism, or cash shops, or, you know, something like that. And for whatever reason, that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. I like paying. If you need more money, just charge me more to, you know, on the subscription. I'd rather just pay a subscription. But everybody's, you know, how do I say it? Everybody takes the time to level at the same pace. You know what I mean? You can't swipe a credit card for things. That's the way I personally prefer it. And the really frustrating thing for somebody like me is right now there's not an option for that. And I completely understand the view of, you know, you don't have to buy those things. You can totally play the game without buying them. And while people say it doesn't affect you, to me it totally does affect the way that I look at the game in general. It may not have like a direct effect on like my gameplay in and of itself, but the whole idea that it's not a level playing field is what bothers me about that. You know, it's like if you want to be able to compete, or to be able to be, you know, rating at the end game, that sort of stuff, that you've got to swipe your credit card or whatever. That's the part, I guess, that I don't like, because the other day I was on Discord with some friends of mine that I hadn't played with in a while, and we were kind of catching up, talking about upcoming season. I'm interested in playing, and I'd like to raid, and we haven't, you know, raid. Anyway, long story. We were just talking about hopefully that we'll get something like that. We can all play together again. And during the conversation, there were people that were the conversation came around to one of the guildies was leveling an alt. Just got to 80 and wanted to start getting ready to do the current raid, which I think right now is TOC, Trial of the Crusader, or Trial of the Grand Crusader, or anyway, whatever it is. And they told him to just do the GDKPs, that gold was super cheap right now. You know what I mean? Just swipe the credit card, do a few GDKPs to get your gear score up, and then, you know, once you got to a certain gear score, then they'd just let you bring your alt right into the TOC raid. And to me, that's like, you know, that's totally anathema to what it was when I played. When I played Warcraft back then, there was like a rule there, right? Like the rule was, if you got caught buying gold or whatever, then, you know, the guild I was in, you would get kicked out of. And you know, it takes so long to level to 60, and you get then, and I believe back then we had real GMs in the game, and I can't remember if it was a permaban, but it was a long time if it wasn't. It was, you know, months if you got caught buying gold. So just the overall mentality of the gamers nowadays are significantly different. And again, I hope I'm not coming across like it's right or wrong. I personally don't enjoy that. I don't like the idea of swiping a credit card, getting into a raid, outbidding people for specific gear. That does not feel like World of Warcraft. But then again, you know, I'm 45 and I've been gaming. You know, heck, I remember push mowing lawns in 1984, believe it or not, to buy an NES, and you know, it came with the Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, and I saved enough money to buy it, and I wanted Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and I'm totally dating myself, but and then I think that year for Christmas I got Metroid. Anyway, but that's like where my whole gaming came from, and you know, I've always associated gaming with working, because as a kid, that was like my first enterprise, you know, was going around the neighbor's house, and I wish I could remember how much I charged, because I'm sure it would be absurd, but I remember 100% that it took me all summer to save the money to be able to afford an NES and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
What brings you here? Ancestors watch over you.
But it was a great feeling, you know, you had you know, all summer there was something I wanted, and I believe it was the weekend before school started, or maybe it was 2 weekends before school started, but whatever it was, I was able to do it. And then, you know, everybody and all of my friends, I was the first one to have one, and but I guess what I'm getting at is, whenever I've always associated gaming with like an accomplishment, with doing something, you know what I mean, gaining an accomplishment, and swiping a credit card to get it just doesn't feel right to me.
May the eternal sun shine upon.
I guess the term the kids use these days, you know, like, oh, I call you a boomer or whatever, and maybe that's true. I mean, obviously, I'm not like a true boomer. I wasn't born, you know, whatever that time frame is, but maybe there is some sort of truth to it. Maybe I am. I don't know. And if so, that's fine. I mean, I'm not. I think I'm all in favor of the modern Warcraft having all of these things. I just wish, I don't like the idea of playing on private servers, just because of the way intellectual property works and that sort of thing. If I'm given the option, I would much rather pay the original, you know, the people who have the copyright for it. That's just my take on it. But, you know, if you don't have the option to play that game, what do you do then? You know, I think that's a valid thing to ask as well. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to tidy up a few things. We'll run around and sell. I have to, and then I will go into the inn to get some rested experience. And then the next time that we pop on and chat, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on the homestead and such, while I run from here all the way over to Orgrimmar, and then we'll start doing the orc and troll quests as well. I think my approach is going to be slow and steady. So as I record, what I'll do is I'll record the run itself, just so it's actually on video. But what I'll do is I'll just fast forward through that, so we won't be chatting while I run. I do want to send this. Okay. So let's send this as well. And we'll send him 5 silver back. Alright. To browse your goods. It's funny, every time I see that lucky rabbit's or that rabbit's foot, I was convinced for the longest time that you would get better rolls if you had a lucky rabbit's foot in your inventory. And the reason that happened was way back. I was trying to remember. Way back, I was in a dungeon run, and I don't remember what the dungeon was. But before I went, I left a rabbit's foot in my bag. Anyway, during that dungeon, every roll I got, I won. And so, just because, I guess, because of that that instant feedback, you know, there was probably completely had nothing to do with it, which I'm almost positive it didn't. But because of that, forever, from there on out, all the way up until I stopped towards the end of Cataclysm, was it after Firelands? Anyway, that I stopped, I would keep a stack of rabbit's feet in the bag of every character that I had. So, alright, well, I appreciate all you folks hanging out with me today, man. I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't, please like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Till next time, I hope you all take care of yourselves. Peace.